Hello everyone, I am Sachin from DevOps University. Thank you very much for joining the kickoff session. So guys, I have put everyone on the mute and the way of session is going to conduct. So we have some ground rules. So everyone is on mute by default. And if you wanted to have ask any question in between the session, you can raise hand or you can type in your query in the chat window. And after going through this session, I will be having an open question and answer session where you can ask your any question, whatever you have related to the program and about the certification exam. So let's begin. I hope everyone is able to see my screen. If you are able to see, please give me hi or some message from the chat window. Sure, I can see the hands up by Priya, Tanu, and David. Perfect. Great. So, guys, I'm starting it. So the whole intention about this kickoff session is to give you all a very high-level overview about the program and the way how this program is going to be conducted, what all component will be there, and what will be the phases, what all content we will be teaching you in this 5 days Certified DevOps Foundation workshop. And most importantly, once this workshop will be completed, you will all be getting the access to certification exam portal. So you might be having some questions, like what type of question will be coming up in the exam, what will be the syllabus, what we have to prepare, how can we verify, and what is the validity of this certification exam, can we put it on our resume or can we put it on LinkedIn or any other social media site. So I'm going to give you the whole information about it, and we will be having open question answer session, so please feel free to ask your questions. So I am beginning this webinar. So the agenda of this workshop is to, as I already covered the workshop details, I will be giving you brief introduction to DevOps. I know some of the people very first time, coming up or encountering with the DevOps. So before starting this webinar or the 5 days session, although in coming Monday session onwards, we will be giving you very basic to basic detail about evolution of IT, how the software being developed 10 years or 20 years before, and now how things are being changed, what all processors are there. So that will be covered in our Monday session. But I just want to give you a very high level overview so you can be ready, or you will be having some basic understanding it what we are going to learn in upcoming 5 days. So we will be going through about topics covered in workshop, and then, as I said, about DevOps Foundation certification exam, how you will be get registered, validity of the exam voucher, certification exam format, other details about certification, and the most importantly, our this 5 days workshop will be the hands-on session where our trainer will be performing some of the lab exercise in front of you, and you will be performing based on your convenience during the lab or post lab session also you can perform. So for that we will be using AWS cloud, and I'll be helping out you helping all of you to configure or to set up your AWS account, the free tier account. So I'm starting with the uh, DevOps. So this is the information. I hope every one of you have received the link to join the session for next 5 days. If anyone is not received yet or having any trouble to access it, please feel free to drop us an email at contact@devopsuniversity.org. We will be help you out to get access to the session. So this is our website link where you can go and you can quickly find it out, what all contents are there, what will be we are going to teach you all. And I hope every one of you have received a detailed email where we have given the 2 phases of the program. where the first part says about the 5 days workshop and the second part says about certification exam. Along with that, we have already provided you some complimentary sessions about Linux basics and decoding DevOps webinar. So I am requesting every one of you, if you haven't went through the Linux basic recorded sessions, please spend some at least 2 hours time, or at least listen initial 2 sessions to get you accustomed with the basic Linux commands. So in initial 2 sessions, it's not covering any more advanced command. I would say it gives you, the very first session gives you about what is Linux, what are core components there, how it works. And the second session talks about some basic commands like how to create user, how to provide the permission to the user, how can we form the groups. So because in this entire 5 days session, we will be performing all the operations on Linux machine. So it does not require to be a master of Linux, but if you are having some basic understanding of Linux, it will be really helpful for all of you to understand the and working with the DevOps tool set. So let's begin with the introduction to DevOps. So I hope you all must be aware about what is DevOps. Dev comes from the development, ops comes from the operation team. So development team means the team those are involved in building the software. So in this dev team, the people those are interacting with the business, those are gathering the information from the business, and the people those are designing the software called as architects, the people those are coding into it using any programming language, either Java, .NET, Python, Ruby on Rail, or any language they are using it to develop this software. And then comes the people those are validating and verifying and making sure whatever is written in the requirement document is up to the mark and things are working as expected in all the environments. People called testers. And once this entire 2 phases are passed, when development is completed, testing is completed, we usually ship the software to production environment. When I'm saying ship means we deploy the software in production environment for the real users. So real users are using the application, they are accessing, and behind the scene, the team called operation and maintenance team, it totally depends organizations to organizations, they have given different names. Some called as operation team, some called maintenance team, some called as uh, support team. But industry wide, the operation team is something those are running working 24/7 behind the scene to make sure our application up and running and it's performing as it's expected. So DevOps is basically, we can understand till now we understood what is development team, what is operation team. So you might be seeing the olden days or old days, or in the current scenario also, these two teams are having very less interaction and they're interacting whenever it requires. So what development team is working on, what new feature they're developing, the operation team is having no clue. At the same time, the dev team having no clue what metrics the operation team is having, how the application is performing in real time, what is the performance measures being taken care by the operation team, how many major incidents are coming up. So all those things, so those teams are working all together in a different mode because they are having different responsibilities. So but DevOps is here to bridge the gap between development team and the operation teams. So what DevOps brings? It brings communication, it brings collaboration, it brings integration. So DevOps is not a tool, it's not a technology, it's not a framework, it's just a culture. So the culture it says we two are going to work together for the common goal. The goal is to success of the project. So in this DevOps brief introduction, I am going to cover what is DevOps, collaboration with development and operations, DevOps myths, DevOps reference architecture, DevOps adoption and infrastructure automation with DevOps, CI/CD deep dive, and DevOps pit stop. So I will try to take as simple example as I can to help you out to understand how it's being benefited to the industry. So I hope, like, when we started working in IT industry, we all have worked on the waterfall model, where, like, we get the requirement and the team worked on designing the software. They design, like, what will be the flow of the application, how the screen will look like, what all database will be there, what will be the database design, how data will be coming from UI to middle tier and middle tier to database. So all those things are defined in design state, where architect, system analyst, people are working and they are building the design. And we know waterfall model is having 7 to 8 steps. The very first is requirement gathering, second is requirement analysis, third is design, fourth is coding or development, fifth is software testing, sixth is deploying to the production, and the seventh is monitoring the application. And we see, like, all these 7 or 8 phases are sequential phases. So the major portion of the time is taken care by the coding or the development team. They basically develop the software, and then the testing and then deploy phase come. In this entire scene, you will see, if let's suppose during the development we reach here, we are about to complete our development, and suddenly some changes coming up, and business want them on a priority basis. So we have to again go back to the design, and we have to again coming up to this one. So it's leading very much of amount of time and effort to deliver any product. And the classical example or waterfall model is, like, it takes time. Delivery time is in months and sometimes in years, and we are not having any feedback mechanism here. So the customer will be seeing product once it is finally developed and shipped to the production. So the organizations and the industry has seen some drawbacks with the waterfall. I can give you one very basic example so you can understand what kind of problems it has created. Let's suppose some customer come and say, like, I wanted to build a car, and he said, I need 4 wheels, and I need one steering to drive it, and it should take petrol or gasoline as in fuel to run it. So they have given us the requirement, and the development team started working on it, and the client was expecting some nice car, and we never discussed about what we are looking for, and never development team is going to showcase what we are developing it. And the dev team is working on some truck, the 4-wheel truck. They're placing all nice 4 wheels, and they're placing the fuel engine using the petrol, and they are having the nice steering, everything. They did best of it, because they knew they wanted to deliver for the client, and they're working on it. But the client is having some different understanding. He was looking for some Rolls-Royce kind of car, but, like, the guy, he's building some nice truck for him. When the customer is going to see the final product, he might be, like, surprised. He was looking for something else and he got delivered something else. So there was feedback is missing, no interaction between client and the customer and the development team. And whenever there is some interaction is happening, we usually call this change ticket, or change ticket has to be open, and then change ticket has to be approved, and each change is paid. So client has to pay for each changes, because it's going to take a whole lot of effort. So the delivery to market was also very time consuming, because till the time development team will be able to deliver the software, other competitors can come into the market and they can start selling their product. So you can be behind the market. So the major problem comes with the waterfall. It lacks feedback. It sometimes the requirement that the client is expecting is not meeting with the development team is developing, and the lead time to market is very high. Then few people, those are from the Agile founders, they met and they discuss and they come up with the concept called Agile. And Agile is also having several flavors, like in Scrum, it has Kanban, it has XP, it has TDD, but most prominently being used in the industry is Agile Scrum model, where they have just break down entire waterfall model into small pieces. So they said, like, we will be getting the requirement, roughly we will call the bulk requirement or unorganized requirement as the epic, and they work with the product owner who is basically responsible for the product. And the scrum master was there. There are so different roles are there: scrum master, developers, product owners. I'm not going deep into agile. So basically they work together, they logically break the requirement into stories. They call the stories as requirements and prioritize the story. They make uh, the the feature or stories in a priority list, and based on that they are doing agile planning, scrum planning, and picking up the stories based on the capacity, and teams are working on it. The duration of each scrum varies from 1 week to 4 weeks time, and after they have different ceremonies like scrum planning, daily scrum call, and the scrum review or demo, and then the scrum retrospective. In scrum review, after usually organizations having 15 days time for each scrum team or scrum sprint, during after each sprint they are giving demo or they are reviewing whatever product they had developed to the end customer, so customer can see what he asked them to deliver, and if he is having any feedback he can share with them. If he wanted to add any changes to that, so that changes can be adopted or implemented at the very initial level of the application development. So agile gives us freedom to break it and develop the code in after every 15 days time or after every sprint, and that code is shippable code. And agile also bridges the gap between developers and the tester, and as well as system analyst and architect. Agile call each of them as a developers. So testers are also writing test cases. They're executing test script within the sprint to make sure whatever is being built is tested and working perfectly fine. But still, you're seeing here, operation team is not involved. So again, operation team is not at all aware what development team is working on, what is their progress, how much the story is being developed. So after 15 days or 1 month duration, one sprints end, they are having the shippable product. But this product is never been shipped to the production. The reason is the operation team is having monthly release cycle or quarterly release cycle. They are developing, but they're not releasing to the production because agile is not having the capability to deliver it to the production. They are not having any interaction with the operations team. And the next comes the DevOps. So DevOps is, as I said, it's not technology, not a framework, not a methodology. It's just a culture. So DevOps says we will be following the same way we were developing the software. So, but we will be having the capabilities. We will be including operations teams also with us, and we all will be working as a team, as a single team or one team with the cross skill set. So now in this DevOps team, we are having developers, we are having testers, we are having operations guys. So each one of you know what is being developed and what is the state in the production. And the DevOps also follows three principles. One principle is from the lean. Another principle is agile. So we talked about agile. So agile is used for software development, and the lean is talked about removing all the waste from the system. So when I'm saying the waste, it takes cares about all the manual effort that is being done repeatedly and that is not adding any benefit. So we can automate those things, like the building the code is, developing the code cannot be automated. We have to write every time. But compiling the code, generating the jar file, er file, or dll file, or exe file, or the shippable product, can we automate that stuff, that particular thing? So agile DevOps advocate to remove the manual effort or the redundant effort from the system. In the same time, we are doing every time manual testing or regression testing to make sure our build is stable. We are doing smoke testing, regression testing, system testing. So it talks about, whatever features you feel are redundant in the nature, we are running every time. Can we automate them? So it advocate to automate some of the stuff that is being done repeatedly and to make it faster. And then the third principle is ITIL. So ITIL principle is for the operations team. They have some standard procedures like how the application should be monitored, what all things has to be taken care. So it advocates to adopt the ITIL principle also for the smooth operation and the maintenance working. Yeah. So now, like I said, collaboration with development and operation team is very, very much required, because app development team is having some their own priorities, and operation team is having their own priorities. Let's suppose the dev teams always priority is deliver quickly, add new functionalities, and having the good or great code coverage. They should be writing unit test cases, and the quality engineers or the testers are working on it. They should be quickly testing all the stories within the sprint. So they have different types of understanding or different types of goal. They have all different views, mindset. But here in the operations teams, they're not at all concerned about the how soon stories being developed or tested. Their major concern is there should not be the outage. Our application should be up and running 24/7. There should not be any issue. Our application performance should be good. It should not be like that some users are feeling the lag, and some users are not able to access the application. So they are more working on the application stability side. So these two teams are having different directions, but their both of the teams goal is one. They both are working to deliver to the market fast and to stable product and the quality product. So as I said, DevOps brings the collaboration between dev team and the ops team, and when they meet together, they are working together in a single team as a one team. Their focus is to accelerate delivery. So in agile team, after 15 days, they have developed the software. With the collaboration or with the working with the operations team, they can plan it out to quickly release it after 15 days. So together, once they're working, they are able to release quickly and the faster to the market. Earlier, the operations team says, dude, we are having 2 weeks or 1 week's uh, the TAT, or I would say the SLA, to deliver any product to the production. We have this as a process set up, but when they're working together, so they can decide and they can come on the agreement. After every release, we can deliver the software to the production. So we will be seeing like next phases also, when we are going to production, what all things we have to consider, what all phases are there, and how DevOps is helping us to reach there. So as a collaboration with development and operation has significantly eased the life and help us to deliver faster in the market. And here are certain steps you can see the continuous business planning. So the DevOps, it always talks about the continuation, because in agile we see after every sprint, the next sprint is ready. We are having so many of stories, and so the backlogs are ready to develop or to improve the application performance. So it adds the continuity. So it first the business planning. So business can keep planning. So it's I can give you an example again, and one example, very simple example for the DevOps. Let's suppose there is one lady. She is having toy store, and she wanted to launch her website to the outside the public, or to the entire country, to sell her toys. So if she is going with the waterfall model, she has to give all the requirement, and after 6 months or after 1 year, she will be getting the website coming up, and maybe till then other competitors will be in the market and she will be left behind to the competition. But if she goes with the agile and the DevOps, when I'm saying DevOps itself follows the agile principles. After every 15 days, let's suppose they're having the sprint timing 15 days. After every 15 days, they will be deciding, they will be planning what we have to deliver in 15 days. And after 15 days, they will be deploying the product to the market. So very first 15 days, she will be coming up very simple website where she will be displaying the toys. And in the next iteration, she will be adding the one more feature, like add in the wish list. And you can add on the wish list, so people can create their own collection. They can view what all new items are coming up on the store, and after next 15 days she can add the capability for add to cart and providing payment using Stripe. So after next 15 days she can provide some other payment features like COD or cash on delivery, I would say rather, or providing other PayPal or other medium to get it access. So after every 15 days she will be adding new features and stay in the market. So we can see the major difference here between Waterfall and the DevOps is after 6 months she will be getting the website that she don't know what features are coming up, what all things are working will be working there. But in DevOps, after every 15 days she will be keep getting updates on her website, and she has all the flexibility to add update feature and change the feature based on her need. So all those things are in continuation. So that's why it has the continuous business planning where the new features are being planned, and then the continuous integration. The continuous integration is when the feature is coming up, we have to in integration part we are broadly doing three stuff. One is compiling the code to make sure our code is not breaking. Second, we are ensuring our code quality, running the unit test cases and running the unit test case reports to make sure our code's quality is high. And the third is running the some of the unit test cases and the code quality along with the code comparison. These three things are being maintained in the continuous integration. So this part is from the agile. This part can be automated. And the next is continuous testing. So in the continuous testing, the testing team is writing some scripts that those scripts are being evaluated, these are running, and they're making sure whatever software we are developing is having no bug and working perfectly fine. It can be automated. And then the continuous delivery. The continuous delivery is we are now delivering this product to the market. We are deploying this application live. So this is standard process. This process can also be automated. And next come the continuous monitoring. So continuous monitoring is monitoring the application. How many users are accessing my website on monthly basis? What product is being people are looking for? And how my application is working in production. Is there any lag? Is there any performance issue, or my application is stopped working? So everything is being done in the continuous monitoring. Based on all those steps, these are fail fast model. If anything goes wrong at any place, you will not be able to move next phase. So when I'm saying the content integration, let's suppose developer commit the code and his code is having some compilation error. From here also it got failed, and the developer will get notification or the feedback in terms of email. Dude, your code is not up to the mark, there is some compilation issues, go back and fix those issues. Same goes to the continuous testing. If some functionality is not working, here it will fail and it will send the notification email to the developer. Same way it goes till end, and at the end of the time or the end of the image, we are seeing the continuous assessment in the feedback. Here we are continuously assessing our application. We are generating their matrix and we are reviewing those matrix to make sure our product or our application is working perfectly fine. And if there is any action needs to be taken care, we can continuously plan it, and then that action can be again come to this business planning and it will follow the entire pipeline. So we have seen agile is very much popular. So number of organizations that practice agile is almost 94%, and remaining 6% the organizations, those are working on legacy technologies or those are into domain that is not permitting to them adopt agile. And almost now 5+ years the organizations are using agile, and most of the organizations are now mature enough, those are using agile. And the reason for adopting agile we already discussed is it accelerates the product development, it accommodates changes on the fly. Like after 15 days when we are having the review meeting, the client can come up and share his view. If he wanted to change the things, he can ask them, and there is no cost associated with it, and driving productivity. So the scrum master usually calculate the capacity of the team. Based on the capacity, he picks the development task or stories and teams work on it. So it basically drives productivity. And the benefit realized: ability to manage changing priorities. as we said, like, let's suppose in first sprint, our priority is to bring the website up, and the second sprint, our priority can be adding more categories to the products on the website, rather adding the wish list. So it can be very much dynamic. The name Agile itself talks about this benefit, and increased team productivity, improved project visibility also. So now, the journey is agile to DevOps, as I said, like, already. So agile development, it is iterative development, it's at Scrum, it's sprints, stories, we calculate velocity. In DevOps, we have seen it has continuous integration, continuous deployment, IT automation, application management. It provides IT agility as well as business agility. So we can see the IT operations team, developers, and the business people all are working together in a line for the common goal to deliver the product in the market before time, or I would say rather than on time. And we will be having the flexibility to release faster to the market. And when we are saying release faster to the market, faster to market always comes with additional responsibility that put us pressure on the team. Whatever we are delivering, it should be the high quality product. So the quality engineer's role is very, very much important in DevOps, because we cannot release any project or any product without testing thoroughly. So we have to make sure, how can we test thoroughly, how can we add more automation testing features, or like, how can we automate more of the redundant work in DevOps. So the we three, or like, almost all the organization or all the teams are working for the common goal, and all the teams are working together as a single team. So we have seen, like, continuous integration testing, continuous delivery and deployment, continuous operation, and the continuous assessment. So it basically, integration and testing decreases the application release lifecycle. So these things, when automated, and once the developer is commits the code, it triggers the build, or it triggers the request that goes to some integration server. It performs all the activity, and within a minute, if anything goes wrong, it will send you back the email to fix it, else it will pass to the next phase. So basically, it decreases the application release lifecycle. And the continuous delivery and deployment means you have built the product, but it's not deployed on the production environment, while delivery talks about building the product is one part, and deploying in on the production environment and delivering to the end customer. So it also decreases the cost of building application, because we also can automate this step, and where, like, our focus is on writing the code rather than managing how to deploy and how to deliver it. And the continuous operation, so this continuous operation covers the part of the monitor the application, and continuously application being monitored, triggers being set. If anything goes wrong, the trigger got activated, they send the notification email to respective people so they can take the timely action. And then the continuous assessment, so the assessment is very much required. So based on our application's performance in live environment, we have to have like some assessment to take it on, like, we have to do some RCAs, like what is being, if something went wrong, why it went wrong, what should we do, how to, we can fix it. So this continuous assessment work there and increase visibility upstream and downstream, and it improves customer experience with immediate feedback loops and continuous improvement analytics. So this is a high level CI/CD lifecycle that we have discussed. So the agile team developed the software, and then, like, they commit the code. You can see this, the developer commits the code, it goes to the code repository. From there it does build, it do unit test, it checks the code quality. Then this the developed product or the artifact goes to repository, and from repository to, it moves to the next phase for the continuous testing, where testing scripts being running and making sure all the test cases are passed and everything is working as expected. Then it goes to the continuous delivery, where it's deployed to the production environment. The environment can be QA, UAT, or production. So where it goes, and based on the feedback, we are developing again, like, we are developing some feature, and it goes in this endless loop. So you might be seeing, like, DevOps is always having the infinite symbol. So infinite symbol means the continuity. It will be working in continuity. So now, I hope you must be getting the great, basic or high level overview of the idea, how DevOps is working, what all benefit it brings to the market, why we should use it. And I'm going to give you a very high glimpse about what about the organizations are being used and why it's popular enough. So the companies like Amazon, Google, Netflix, Facebook, Twitter, and typical the enterprises, those are adopting DevOps. They are deploying frequently. Like, deployment lead time earlier it was in months, now it's in minutes, and the reliability is very high and the customer responsiveness is very high. You can see Amazon is deploying 23,000 deployments per day, and Google is making 5,500 deployments per day. So you must have seen, like, on Amazon or any other shopping site, you will be seeing there are two websites. One is running some offer, and suddenly you will be seeing the other website is also running the same kind of offer to be competent in the market. Without DevOps, it's practically impossible. They cannot make the changes that much frequently. On Netflix also, Netflix works on some pretty good machine learning or some artificial intelligence engines. So based on your interests, it find it out, like, what content you are watching. So he suggests, or they suggest, basically, what should be you will be watching next. So how it's pulling the content from their repository and displaying on your view or your dashboard just because of the DevOps. So DevOps is very much popular. So it deploys 30x more frequently and 200x shorter lead time. They have 60x fewer failure and recover 168% faster. So we understand, like, the failure is less because all the failure, whatever it has to be done, they have already occurred in the initial phases. In the final phase, there are very less chances anything goes wrong. And once the pipeline and everything is automated and they have configured, so it's one time effort, and then you will be committing the code, and it you can push for a single change direct to the production. It totally depends on you, your organization policy, how you wanted to configure it. So just very much doable. uh, just, like, to summarize what is the DevOps and Agile differences. So in this slide, like, I will be covering what of or all myths with the DevOps. So usually people think about DevOps is something, some technology, some framework, or we have to learn some programming language to implement it, or we have to learn some Python or the Groovy. So DevOps is not a technology. It does not require any programming language. It's just a culture. It just simply talks about come together, work together, communicate, integrate, and deliver faster. And the people are having misconception. DevOps is being used by the people those are working in operations team. They have to manage infrastructure only. It does not talk about any other thing. So it's not like that. The DevOps is the culture, and as well as it gives the capability to each and everyone to contribute on all the phases of the development. I'm saying, from coding till production deployment, you can go and you can see, like, what your application is working, how it's working, what is the performance matrix. So at every point of time you will be all aware about it. And the second and most important thing between DevOps, and now, I'm going to compare DevOps and Agile. So DevOps is basically a technical practice to achieve end-to-end solution. So we talks about from continuous requirement gathering till continuous feedback, or continuous deployment or operation, while Agile talks about more process oriented. So it talks about Scrum methodology, it has some sprint, it has some ceremonies, and it follows like that only. But but DevOps is not having any methodology. It does not talks about any ceremonies and other stuff. And the operations as deployment is just a small part of the ops, other being configuration management, etc., being done in the operations team. So what does it mean? It's saying, like, it does not mean, like, operation people are just only monitoring the application and they are just deploying the application. They are managing the infrastructure of the organization or the product. whether they need to spin more hardware, they have to bring more memory to it. So all those things being done using the configuration management. We will be in this 5-day session, we will be seeing what all configuration management tools are there, how they are being used. While the agile, it's link between design thinking and DevOps, and aligning ops with stability such as scripting, deployment, and standardizing apps building. So when we are automating the stuff, for that time the particular developer can use their respective programming language or their respective the tool specific setup or configuration to automate the scripts. And DevOps helps to bridge the line between several cross-function teams. Like development team is having their own responsibility, QA team is having own responsibility, monitoring, deployment, infrastructure. Each team and each people are having different responsibilities. So it brings all together on a single platform, and it simplifies the entire process. While the agile, it talks about only development area, where it bridges the gap between the business people from the developers and the testers. And the DevOps entire thought process, or the entire framework, or entire sorry, I'm saying framework. So entire thought is about to faster deliverables through automations via various applications, tools like Docker, Chef, Jira, Splunk. And so there are so many tools like being used at at DevOps. We will be going through it also. But Agile's more focused on streamlining delivery via tools like Kanban tool, Scrum, or extreme programming or test-driven development. So, so Agile is focused more on development side, while DevOps focus is more on end-to-end or bridging the gap between different cross-functional teams. So you must have listened, some of the new terminology people are coming up with: DevSecOps, DevSecChatOps. So don't get confused with these terms. So dev means development, ops means operations team, and when we are combining both the teams and working as a one team, it called DevOps. Now, when you heard DevSecOps, so dev means development team, sec means security, ops means operations. So security team is nothing, it's not a separate team. It totally depends on organization to organization. Some teams are collaborated with the development team, somewhere it's collaborated with the ops team, and in some organizations they have altogether separate team. Those are taking care about the security or vulnerability access. So these teams are basically validating your application for all the access related issues. Nobody can hack it, nobody put the brute force attack, nobody try to hack your data information from it. So they make sure your application is secure and your data is always secure. So to bring those people on the same board, they name it as DevSecOps. And there is, some people call it dev chat ops. So chat ops means there are some tools like Slack, some organizations using Flowdog, some organizations using Microsoft Team. So these tools are configured in such a way, if let's suppose my Jenkins or my the continuous integration server is configured with the team or Flowdog, and the same way my git or my version control is configured with the Jenkins, sorry, with the Flowdog, and the same my monitoring is also configured with it. If anything goes wrong or anybody commits the code, any build got success or failure, we will get the notification on the chat tool, that is Flowdog or any other tool that is being used. So this is called chat ops. Okay, so I hope I am able to cover most of it about DevOps. I hope you must have get some other idea about it in Monday's session. I request each and everyone, please join the session. Make sure you will be understanding it, because in that session, trainer will be covering from very basic. He will be going to explain what is server, what is client, what the server means, what is physical server, what is virtual server, what is cloud. So we are going to discuss all those things in detail, but I try to put as much information as I can to give you a little background about it. So when you will be joining the session, you will be having a good understanding about it. So in this entire 5 days program, we are going to cover introduction to DevOps. So as I said, it will be starting from very basic. If you don't know about IT, if you don't know how software is being developed, everything will be covered in this introduction to DevOps, where server, cloud, containers, orchestration. So whatever jargons you will be finding new to you, those will be covered and will be explained in much simpler way. And then the CI/CD pipeline, it's continuous integration and continuous delivery and deployment pipeline. So you will be seeing user is committing, developer is committing the code, and how can we push directly with each commit to the production. And the tools that we are going to learn in this 5 days session will be Git, its source code management tool. Build tool is Maven. So for the Java based application, the build tool Maven is used to building the application. When I'm saying building, means compiling the code, running the unit test cases, and building the artifact. In the continuous testing, we will be seeing how can we test our application using unit testing, using different automation testing tools like Selenium and other. And then the Jenkins, this is the very important tool used for continuous integration. So all these three steps will be running on the Jenkins. And then the comes containers or the Dockers. So the Dockers are basically very new concept. It's being used on the cloud, so they provide a similar kind of uh, so they give you kind of feature. You're running your application on the local environment, running on the dev environment, test environment, or stage or prod. It will give you the same kind of environment. And the Kubernetes is a tool used for the orchestration. So it provides the elasticity to our infrastructure. Let's suppose at the Christmas time, when the user base is very high on Amazon, how they can increase their servers, and once the Christmas time over, how they can reduce their server numbers. So this can be very well done using the Kubernetes. And the configuration management tool Ansible. So what does mean with the configuration management? It's about, let's suppose you have to provision or you have to configure hundreds of machines. You have to install Linux operating system or Windows operating system on 100 machines, and you want to install Microsoft Suite onto it. How you can deploy in single go? So there, the Ansible come for the rescue. And the logging tool, every application build some logging. It generates some logs. Servers also generate the logs. So basically Splunk is log aggregation framework or a tool. It basically collect all the logs onto their server and gives us a very beautiful dashboard where we can go and we can see the logs, we can do a search, and we can find the relevant information about the Splunk. And then the infrastructure monitoring. Infrastructure means our servers, our hardware, how they're working, how they're performing, is there any problem with them. So that can be used using the Negois as well as Prometheus and Grafana. Prometheus and Grafana is basically dashboard tools where you will be seeing the metrics, you will be seeing different types of graphs. So this is all content we are going to cover in next 5 days. Now comes to the second part of this workshop is the certification exam. So once you will be completed your 5 days learning, on the last day of the session, you all will be getting the email with your credential to access the exam portal, where you can go and you can attempt for the exam. The exam format will be like, in the language will be English, number of question 30, and the passing score is 70%. So you have to correct 21 questions. Duration of the exam is 45 minutes, and the format of exam will be multiple choice questions, true false questions. It's online. You can take this exam from your home, where you having the stable internet connection. It's open book exam. Maximum attempt is one, and the exam or voucher validity is 60 days. So the day we will be activating your exam, after that 60 days this exam will be valid. And the certification validation is lifetime. So this certificate is valid for lifetime, and it's very well approved in almost all the great organizations. The certification cost is for your organization, we are having the corporate tie-up, so it doesn't make sense you not need to pay anything because your organization already paid for this. This is being accepted to n number of organizations. We have listed a couple of them here, like Cognizant, IBM, Optum, Infosys. So these companies are already approving these certificates. So Before going to AWS account setup guide, I would like to give you a quick overview of our website from where you can get some relevant information, and you can find it out in your spare time. You can spend some time on it. So, okay. So this is our website. So if you wanted to know about more, what is DevOps, what all things are there, you can click on this link, what is DevOps, and you will get to know about most of it. Decoding DevOps, why DevOps, benefits of DevOps, essential elements, and pitfalls. So it will be a nice read for all of you. And along with it, so once you will be clearing the exam, we will be sending you the badge. For you guys, the DevOps Foundation badge will be this. This will be the badge that you can place on your LinkedIn account, you can place on your resume, and all the information about the exam will be given here. Like, the topics covered, your certification view, and your exam details, like the language, number of questions, passing scores, all those information given here. And once you will be done with your learning and you wanted to make sure about your preparation, so we are also giving the mock exam link. So you can click on this link and you can appear as many times as you want to test your knowledge, to test your learning. Click on this exam link and it will be having 20 minutes, 20 multiple type question. You can attempt as many times as you can. And after each session, I will make sure I will be sharing some of the quizzes with you, so you can try at your home. You can spend some time on it and you can learn around it, and some of the questions will also come from those quiz. And sometimes the mock exam is also having some question that is coming to in real exam. And next, we have seen what is DevOps. You can find in the resources. You can find, you want to learn about the CI/CD and DevOps. So you can click on this link and you can get about out of it, what is CI/CD, what all phases are there, how it's being done. So each and everything you can fetch it from here. And for setting up the environment, we will be going to configure AWS account. So this is the link. You can click on it, and all the steps are already given, how to create our AWS free tier account and how to access it. So all the steps are given. So first of all, so give me a second, I would like to quickly complete this step, and then we will be I will be opening it for the open questionnaire session. So first of all, we have to write AWS and do a Google search. It will give you the Amazon Web Service Cloud account. And now let me quickly create an account. So we are going to create a free account. Click on create an AWS account. So I am going to register with, and I am using the name. Okay. Okay, it's asking for the debit card or credit card. It basically validate whether you are a robot or the real person. It will basically charge $1 and reverts back. Sorry guys, I need to hide this information. Just give me a second. I am entering my credit card detail. Okay. Okay, guys, I hope you are able to see screen. Okay. It makes sure, I am the real person. Sure. So as we are going to use the free tier, we will be using the basic free plan. So now I'm here. So click on sign in to the console. Okay, there is some typo. It will take couple of minutes. We will be able to configure very quick our account onto it. So I am here now. It's AWS Management Console, and we have to create launch a virtual machine with EC2. Okay. What happened? Credit card information is incorrect. Why it's asking for recurring? You can see it's charging very nominal fees in Indian currency. It's 2 rupees only. Perfect. So let me go back to here. Okay, this is the billing. I am getting this information. Reason is, I have used this AWS console multiple times, so that's why it's bringing me to the screen. So you will be landing to this management console. You have to click on launch a virtual machine. Guys, I'm having some trouble using it. No worries, I can walk you through about this screen. So here, basically you have to open this awsamazon.com, click on complete sign up, and you will be, after adding all the details, you have to log in, or you can create your new account. As I have entered all the details, please enter your details. So it gives you 12 months of free tier access, and make it as a personal account, and click on agreeing term and condition, and click on create account and continue. And you will be entering your credit card or debit card information, and entering your address, and securely submitting the information. So once you will be verified, you choose the free tier account. Is you have to click on sign into the console. And now, we have to create a new virtual machine. The Ubuntu is operating system name. Basically, it's Linux operating system. So we have to choose. So we reach till this screen, and we have to click on launch a virtual machine. So when you are clicking on this one, it will open up number of, it will be showing so many things here. But in the image, it's selected 16, because when the time we developed this page, the version was 16, but you have to choose version 18.04 LTS. And choosing the one instance, the next screen will be this one, where it will be asking general purpose, and choose t2.micro. Here you will be seeing the free tier eligible. Click on this, and click on review and launch. It will move you to the next screen. Let me see again. I think my access is approved now. If, yes, luckily I'm able to. Yeah, so here I am. Okay, let me go back to the dashboard. So we are here. I'm clicking on launch a virtual machine. Sometimes it takes time to configure my account. So here is Ubuntu server 18.04. I will choose this one, and we should be seeing that it's free tier eligible. We are going to use the free version, so AWS will not charge single penny to our account. So here I am going to use general purpose, and the default selected the free tier one, and I'm not going to change anything. I'm clicking on review and launch. So here we can basically review. I have chosen free tier eligible Ubuntu version 18.4 and T2 micro instance. I'm keeping all those things as default, not changing any stuff. And when I am going to click on launch button, it's asking me to select an existing key pair or create a new key pair. So I can create a new key pair. This is very important step, guys. I am giving its name DevOps University key, or give more meaningful name AWS key, and download key pair. When I'm downloading it, it has downloaded at some location, and I will click on launch instance. It will be basically now creating a VM machine for me on their server on the AWS cloud. You can see very quickly it has created the instance for me. And when I click on view instances, I can see my instance is being configured, its state is pending, and the status is initializing. And the IPv4 public IP is 3.129.60.194. So this is basically the public IP. Using this IP, I can access my application. And this is DNS name that they have given, so we can fetch this information here also. So this is my public DNS name, and this is my VM machine's IP address. So you can see now the state is running, my environment is up and running, status check is still in progress, and monitoring is disabled. We don't need any other thing. And now okay, so now if we wanted to stop this machine, we wanted to do any other settings. So this is the go to actions under instance state. We can click on stop to stop the machine. We can reboot to reboot, and terminate for deleting this instance from the AWS. So this is like, the basic step we have done, and now we have to create security group. So security group is basically to provide access to this instance, so we can be able to access from the our local machine. So you can see the default security group is launch wizard. If I click on this, so here we can see some group is being configured. We can click and see. So we can create new group, or we can edit this group also. I am going to edit the same group, or let me create the new one. It will be always better. So I'm click on create secure group. I am liking DevOps University access. I am not changing anything. I am adding rule. So custom TCP, I will be adding all traffic, all protocol, source custom. I am saying anywhere, and I am done with this. And similarly, for outbound rules, I am choosing all traffic, custom anywhere. That's it. And I'm creating security group. Okay, it's asking for description. Whatever description you want to give, you can give it here. Security group is created. So all for all traffic, it's good. And perfect. Now go back to the EC2 instance. We can see running instance is 1, key pair is 1, volume is 1, and security groups are 3. So let me go back to running instance. Now this is running, but how can I connect this instance to my local machine? So let me quickly open git bash. Connecting this instance, this should be checked in, and click on connect. And all the instructions are given here. It says open an SSH client. So this is my SSH client, and your key must not be publicly visible. Okay, so I can tell you in a very simple way. I have downloaded this repository, this public key. I can cut it from here, and I can create a new folder here, AWS cloud key, and I will put my key here. And we should to access this instance, we should be in the same folder where our key is placed. And the best way is, manually we should reach till this folder, do a right click, and you will be seeing the git bash. If you are using the Windows machine, click on git bash, and we are under this AWS cloud key folder. And here your key must not be publicly visible to this. Use this command in basically chmod is we are giving permission, or we are providing some permission. I am running this command, so permissions are applied. So now connect to instance using its public DNS. I am running this, and oh, okay, Okay, no problem. I can copy this command SSH. Okay, what is something went wrong? So you can see now, I am now logged into my Ubuntu machine. So you can read high level information. It says system on Friday, process is this, the program included on this. So now I am on the Ubuntu. So now I am on the Ubuntu machine. I have logged into AWS Cloud. So you can see this is the same IP address that is given the here, the private IP address 172.31.28.214. So this is the way we have to log into our Ubuntu machine, and all the installation, everything will be covered during the session. So now the important thing to remember is we have to keep our AWS the private key, the PEM file at secure location, and we have to open git bash from the same location where our AWS PAM key is stored. After every day, once we are done with the session, I am now exiting this console. My work is done, and I am exiting it, writing exit. So once we are done with our day's activity, we are done with our learning for the day, we have to stop the instance, so we can maximize use the free hours provided by AWS. So I can click on stop. So you will be seeing it will be stopping the instance. Once it will be stopping the instance, it will be basically not charging any amount to me, or it will be not adding any hours being consumed in there in my account. So I can maximize usage of this AWS account, and all the steps and everything is very well explained in our website. So you can go and figure it out, certain steps, how can we log in. So all the creating security group, everything is very well explained here. And some of the commands, like how to install JDK, how to install, all those stuff are also given here. So you can go through it. So this instance is stopped now, so we are good. So once you are done with your entire training, and you don't want to use AWS further, so you can click on instance state and you can click on terminate. It will terminate the instance permanently, and it will never ever charge on your account. So thank you very much, guys. I am done with most of the stuff that I have to cover. Now I am making every one of you unmute. So feel free to ask your questions that you are having. So please ask the question one by one. Now I have unmuted every one of you. You can unmute yourself and please ask if you have any question.
I did.
Yes, Priyanka.
So Sachin, my question is that are we going to install this today, or this is we're going to do on Monday and we're going to have our
So
session?
yeah, so basically the idea here is you can spend 10 15 it's not going to take more than 10 to 15 minutes. You can install it, you can configure it today, or over the weekend, or just before joining the class on Monday. But make sure during the class you will be having AWS configured.
Okay, cool. And one more question. One of the screens you were showing that the big organizations like Amazon, Netflix, and all that companies, they deploy,
Mhm.
yes, this one. So they deploy 5,500 per day. So when you say deployment, is it the new features or is it changes they deploy every day?
So when we are saying deployment, it can be a new feature, it can be a patch fix, it can be fixing to the issue, or it can be any offer that they are running, they wanted to display for the customers.
Okay, okay, cool. Makes
Yeah,
sense. Thank you. That's it.
you're welcome. Thank you, Priyanka. Yeah, Jerry, you can ask your question. I can see your hand raised. Any other questions, guys?
Hi, Sachin.
Hi, Pramaldeep.
Hi. One of the screens you mentioned that we need to have GitHub. So do we need to install that as well along with AWS?
So AWS runs perfectly fine in the browser. It does not require any tool. We are needing only git bash. So you have to install git on your machine. It comes with git bash. It's very much similar to command prompt. So if you are having the admin access to the command prompt, it's perfectly fine. If you're not having, then you need to have the git bash on your machine.
Git bash, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hi, Sachin. Another question on installation. So, do we need to install JDK as well?
Yeah, so JDK will also be needed to install, and during the session, we will be giving you all the commands to install the JDK. Everything will be, to share with you. So now we have to need only AWS account created and having the git bash installed on our machine, because the JDK and other software that we are going to install, we will be installing on the AWS cloud, not on our local machine.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Sachin.
Hi, Tanu.
Uh, do you have the link for the Git Bash? How we can find the software link from the Git Bash, because we are using our organization laptop. So I'm concerned that how we're gonna install it in our laptop, because we don't have the admin accesses.
Okay. Although, I have shared the information, the software required with uh, Debo, and to install it, you have to just write. I'm not
Hi,
sure
Tanu.
about your organization. How can you install it? But
Okay,
you can
I can answer this,
simply.
Sachin. So Git Bash, like we don't need admin permissions, Tanu. We can install it automatically. So from that link, uh, where if you download and click install, eh, it doesn't ask any admin to log in and do that activity. We can do it on our own. That
Okay.
shouldn't be a problem. Yeah.
So do we have the link for us? Because I haven't seen it, so I'm just
Okay, I can ping it in the
Yeah, yeah.
chat window, so it will be
okay.
available for all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Priyanka, I just downloaded this right now and it's working fine on the laptop. So
Oh, so actually, Sachin, I have a Git GUI on my laptop. So will that work, or it's different from Git Bash?
It's different from Git Bash. So Git Bash is basically the command prompt.
Okay, so I need to install that one, yeah. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry if you can see my hands up. I don't recall putting it up. So,
Sure, Jerry. If you have any question, feel free to ask.
no, it's fine.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Any other questions, guys? And please feel free to share your feedback. If you have any question, if you find out, my pace is very high, or anything that you want to, bring. Okay. We have few more minutes. So if you have any further questions that you want to ask, about certification exam or about the workshop or installation or anything?
So, Sachin, is in that mock exam, is that like the questions being automatically updated on daily basis, or is it the same questions which it will, every day we hit the same questions?
So the mock exam is having a very large database, and randomly 20 questions are coming up, and we are updating those questions periodically basis. So this mock exam will give you the feel of real exam. The type of questions, the pattern of the question will be very much same in the real exam. And yes, these questions are periodically being updated. So every time whenever you are attempting this exam, you will be seeing the new questions. You might see the repeated question because it totally picked up randomly, but yes, it's being updated regularly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any other questions, guys?
And how many free hours that we get when we create VMs for the using AWS? So just to make sure that we don't miss that, have to stop it. So how many, do you have any idea like how many free hours we get? And if we cross
Usually,
that, how much it will be charged?
okay, so usually AWS gives the 1 year's access, and they have calculated the access in terms of hours. And if we are running multiple instances, and then for each instance they multiply with the time being used. So but if I see the usage that we are going to use, it will be not going to charge anything beyond our after training also. So the only intention is after after completing the training, after doing the lab work, we should stop the instance so we can use it for the maximum period of time.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Guys, we left only 5 minutes, so please feel free to ask any question, or if you let me know if you get the idea about DevOps that we talked about.
Quick question, Sachin. The PPT that you are sharing, is it available on the site or will it be shared to us?
Yeah, I will share this PPT to all of you, and I'll make sure I'll upload it on some location so all of you can access it.
Okay.
So it will be available for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I've got a question now. If
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to follow the webinar next week, and we're working off
Mm-hmm.
laptop screens, and we're trying to sort of switch between this and the AWS account as well, is that going to be tricky, or will there be sort of defined sessions where we do the lab bits?
So this cloud will be working on your browser. So if you are using your office laptop, and I have seen almost all the organizations are having access to the cloud environment, so you can access it from your office laptop. If you wanted to access from your personal laptop, you can access from your personal laptop also. But to access this AWS cloud, you should be is basically
Sorry, Sachin, you're breaking.
If anyone's talking, I can't hear you.
Yeah, no, I can't. Well, there's a warning message come up saying organisers experiencing technical difficulties.
Yeah, I can hear everybody in the UK.
Come again, please, Robert.
No, we couldn't hear your session. Can you come again?
Yeah. So okay, is it? Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm saying you can access this AWS cloud machine from your personal laptop, from your official laptop. The only thing is you should be having this key on your machine. This is basically used to authenticate with your AWS instance. And for if you have any difficulty to configure your account, any difficulty.
I'm not really talking about the setting up the account. What I'm talking about is kind of the logistics of trying to work off a laptop and follow a session, and also do this kind of lab work as well. So what I'm trying to understand is, will the requirement be to, at certain defined points in the session, now go to your AWS machine and do this lab work, or are we going to be trying to flip between using the AWS machine and following the webinar?
Okay, yeah, I got your point. So basically, like, what will be my recommendation will be, so during the session, you should focus on understanding the concept that is being shared by the trainer. And after end of the session, we will be giving you entire information about performing all the steps by yourself. We will be giving you all the commands. We will be giving you all the materials to access it along with the recordings. So after the session, you can perform all the lab works. So
Okay,
if you are
thanks.
switching between training, it will be difficult for you to concentrate to understand the concept.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So how long should we allow ourselves to do the lab work after the training, so we can reserve it in our calendars?
Yeah. So during the training, it will be usually 3-hour session. So post session, you can perform based on your comfortable time, as your schedule permits. You can spend 2 hours at least to perform all those stuffs.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And that's the same for each day, is it?
Right. Yeah. And every day post training, within a couple of hours, once the recording get processed, we will be sharing the recording links with each one of you, and along with the training material or the commands that is being used during the session, so you all can get the access to it, and based on your availability or based on your schedule, you can practice it, you can try it. If you have any question, you can join our LinkedIn group, or you can write us on an email, or you can ask those questions in session also. And it's not just about the training session. During training session, you can ask the question. Post training session also, if you are facing any difficulty, any issue, you can simply drop us an email. We will try to figure it out and help you out over the email. And if it requires to set up some one-on-one session also, we can set up some time with you to fix your immediate issues. So guys, we are already 2 minutes ahead. Please let me know if you have any question before I conclude the call. So silence means we all are good. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for joining the session. And please be ready to join the Monday session. And I hope we will be having a great learning together. Feel free to write us an email if you come across with any issue, concern. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sachin. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.